Okay, so we are live.
Woohoo!
Great. So, um, all right. So let's go ahead and get started. To get started, I just want to open up the chat before we get started,
Okay.
and also let's tweet this out. Okay. Okay. So right now there is no one on Twitch, so we can afford to do that. So let's pop out the chat here, put it down here.
So much better with a big screen. I have so much more real estate.
Fuck, dude, live video is such a worst thing. Um, where is it? Okay, so this one and this one. Great. Okay, so this looks good now. Now let's put this on do not disturb. Well, I can hear myself. I'm not supposed to hear myself. Okay. Good. So now this looks good. This everything looks good. So we can actually go ahead and get started.
Cool.
All right. So let's tweet this out and then we're ready. Okay. Why doesn't this shorten the link? All right. Anyway. Okay, cool. So we are ready to go.
Cool.
Okay. Oh, I just one more thing that I forgot to do. Let's open up the chat on live edu and pop it out. So then we can um, see that as well down here. Okay, cool. So we are ready to get started. Okay.
Let's do it.
All right. Cool. So first things first, what I want to show is that we have a Trello board for the project here. And you can actually get to it with a shortcut on the Twitch board. You can do working like so, and it will kind of show you what we're working on. So it's pretty nice.
Trello.
Great. So one thing I wanted to do is to create the initial server structure, which is always a pain, as you know. So I started off with like a simple starter project. And what I want to do is just do something like this. So config here. All right, so config env index here. Okay, so node env or production. So this is should be development.
Okay.
And then let's split this like so. You need to as always, with your headphones. I can hear myself bleeding through your headphones.
No, but I am on my headphones.
All right, so
You can
localhost.
hear yourself.
Yeah, 4040.
Okay, let me.
Okay, great. So now this looks good, and we can do API users. Great. So let's see what we have here. So index.js. Do we have routes? No. So src index.js server, and then we have routes and the index. So I think it should be API health check. All right, no. So config, let's do express. Routes, where are the routes? Okay, so there it is. Okay, so it's not API anymore, it's here, health check. So let's actually mount this on API and restart the server here. And then health check should not respond, and API slash health check should, and API users like that should not return. Awesome. So we have an API to, to return users right now, and we have a model for the user. Let me close this here so people can see this. Okay.
Can you still hear yourself through the
No,
audio?
now I'm good.
Okay.
Okay. So let's open this here, and I want to go to the index here and config express.
Any reason you wanted to start with the server side?
Yeah, I just want to start with the server side. No, nothing. So user control dot list, and then route get put validate update user. So we don't have a create user. Seems like we don't. Auth. Right, so auth route. So me login, and then we have register and register. So Acidic Mushroom is asking, you're not using Postgres anymore. No, for this project, I'll be using MongoDB. Okay, so let's see here. So auth controller validation. So let's see param validations, auth.validations. So we have an email. It seems like that's all you need to register, which seems weird. But let's check it out with Postman. Let's put it here. And let's do the post. And the body is going to be email. avi@avi.io. Let's send this. Okay. Oh, it should be API register. No. So let's see why. Of course not. The project is not running. So let's start the project. And let's actually start it down here. Okay, so again here. API not found. So router. So it could be so let's look at the routes here. So config and then express, where are the routes? Okay, so we have routes. So index.route. And then we have auth. So this should be API/auth/register. Okay, and we have a bad request. So let's see why is that. Can't set headers after they are sent. What is that? Authentication error. Let's remove this for a second. Okay, so headers is content type application JSON. Body is only this, so email. And we're getting bad request. Set header. Can't set headers after they are sent. So this is a middleware here. Okay, so this is a middleware. And then auth.route. So auth controller.register. So it's something with the middleware. So let's check this out here. I think it's the course issue. So let's see what we have here. The REST object in Express is a subclass. Okay.
Are you still sharing your screen on my Skype? The browser is not moving at all.
Okay. So yeah, I'm still sharing the screen. Oh, it's probably just a different screen. Just a sec. So,
Really?
Cali TSC2, I guess, is asking what are we working on today, and this is what we're working on. You can check it out. I don't know why Twitch is not like highlighting it as a link, but here's a link, but it's still not doing it as a link. So I don't know why is that. Okay, so let's open up Chrome, and here there's probably some middleware that's kind of in the way here. So let's see the config express. And what do we have here in middleware? So we have a logger. So if error is not instance of API error, convert it. So let's remove this. Let's remove this. And let's remove this. Okay, so let's stop the server and restart it and see if we can get this to work. So let's send. And I still see a bad request, which means that this was not the issue, so we can turn it back. So something here in terms of middleware, I think it's HTTP status. HTTP status not found, express validations. Well, the question is, what is the stack trace here? Okay, so let's do yarn start again, and let's try and send it to the server again and kind of follow the stack trace. So we have response and then express config. You see here config express here. So layer, trim prefix, process params, and then where are we? So we're router, and then so if you still have questions, people in the chat room, if you still have questions into kind of what are we working on, then feel free to ask those. We're working on a Pomodoro timer, but it's going to be connected. So it's going to have an kind of an Internet of Things, as much as, this is a hyped term, but it's going to have an Internet of Things. All right, so let's see the param validation. So it's express validation. So this is here, but this is really nothing out of the ordinary. Okay. So we have a question here in the chat room. Hello, question here. Is it better to learn Ruby or JS to start on web dev? So as much as I love Ruby, and I absolutely love it, I think the answer is today, as Player Find kindly mentioned here, is 100% JavaScript. Um, it's just 100%. It's just taking over everything. So if you know JavaScript and you're going to be able to find yourself in the server-side stack and the client-side stack, you pretty much have it covered. So I definitely would go with JavaScript as the answer for this 100% of the time. Okay, so let's kind of try and figure it out again as any JavaScript project. So skip things like jQuery. Today, yeah, I would definitely skip jQuery, yeah, definitely would skip jQuery and just go with React or Angular or things like that. But so anyway, the question is, no, I don't know if so. I don't know if I would call it vanilla JS. I would say that you need a basic understanding of JavaScript. You need to learn just a little bit to be dangerous about like functional programming with JavaScript. You need to kind of understand the object-oriented nature of JavaScript. And well, it really depends on what you want to do, but there is no such thing to me in the world as like learn jQuery. You need to be you need to familiarize yourself with JavaScript without jQuery. So whether it's Node or whether it's JavaScript in the client side with either React or something like that. But it really depends what you're building. So if you're building the server side to serve HTML pages, to serve like views, then yeah, you need jQuery. But if you build it in API on the server side and then on the client side, you're kind of interacting with that API, then you don't need jQuery. You need a client-side framework like React or Angular or Vue.js and so on. So something here is weird. So let's look at auth here and auth.route. And we have the route to register. Yeah, so like I said, for simple websites, that just, you have HTML and CSS, then yeah, jQuery, of course. But for things that are more complicated, then I would do come on, I would do a client-side framework. Yeah. Okay, so let's see here in terms of register, and let's look at the user.model here. So we have an email, we have a role, and we have a location. So yeah, all I need really in terms of user is an email. And I'm looking at Postman here, and I'm sending email as the user, but I'm getting bed request. So let's see, maybe I need to wrap this in a user. I don't believe so, but maybe. So let's go ahead and do that and send this. And yeah, I see email is required. So something with the validation is working. And let's do another email. So avi@kensodev.com. And let's send this. And I still see this bed request. So let's check this out. So HTTP outgoing JS. And then we have a response, and config express. Okay, so let's look at config and then express. And where are we here? So we have app.use. Let's see. So we have app.use here. So one of these is either a cookie parser, a method override, or compress. So let's start to remove those. we definitely need the cookie part. We definitely need the body parser. But let's remove secret app HTTP headers. So secure app by setting various HTTP headers. So I'm pretty sure it's this one. So let's
Helmet?
see. Yeah, helmet. Let's see what helmet is. So let's remove this one and check it out. And let's restart the server. So if my goal is to make a cool HTML presentation, is it love to learn JS and CSS? Yeah, 100%. 100%. If your goal is to make cool HTML presentations or simple, like what we call static website, then 100%, yes. Okay, so it's not that. And let's remove passport. Let's remove compress. And let's remove the cookie parser. User create strategy. User create strategy. Okay, so let's look at models. User, and let's see, create strategy. Okay. So let's restart here and send. And still, so I still did not pinpoint what I need.
This is a boilerplate app that you found, right?
Yeah. Okay, so let's do this. Body parser. Let's remove the cookie parser. We don't need parser config. And then app.use express. Oh, it might be that one. Okay, let's remove that one as well. And restart here. No, the request does not reach the controller. The request ends before the controller. Origin, API, headers. So accept. So now really. So res. So now, other than the body parser, I don't use anything here. So app.use, we have it here as the routes. And then I can also remove all of this. But really nothing here is using a middleware anymore. It's unbelievable. Okay. So authentication error. Okay, so now it's an authentication error, but now why do I get... Oh, wait, what? Okay, just 1 second. I think... Okay, so let's see here. So received connection. So I see the connection coming into MongoDB. So it's definitely not here. Right, so do that. And send it. Okay, so let's do get. Okay, so I'm not gonna focus on that for a minute. And let's talk about like big picture things for a minute, okay?
Sure.
So if we look at what our project looks like, this is kind of a rough sketch of what the project looks like. And we have, a server side, we have a client side. And if we look at kind of the, moving parts here, then we're gonna build the server side, and we're gonna eventually end up with PostgreSQL. Um, so it's gonna be on. Um, oh, player find. Why do I use Vim? I'm pretty sure we went through that. Maybe not with you, but with someone else um, on the stream. So I use Vim because it's the fastest and the easiest for me. Okay, so the client side is going to be, it's going to have an OS X or an OS 10 client side, which is going to be built with Node.js and Electron. It's going to have a mobile app, which is going to be a React Native. And it's going to have a web app, which is going to be React and Redux. And the coolest thing is that it's going to have like a LED on your computer. And that LED is going to blink or show red whenever you're like during a do not disturb session. And that will, kind of signal in a universal way to all of your coworkers, whether you're working in an open space or in an office. Then it's going to kind of signal them that you're not available. And then the CLI, which is going to be Golang. Okay? So we are currently working on the server side part of it. And the server side is obviously going to have a registration, but this is really kind of the least interesting part of it. And then you're going to have basically a start, a stop, and then you're going to have some stats, like what have I been working on, what are the projects, like update my profile, basic things like that, right?
Okay.
So this is what we want to really start right now. And if we kind of think about it in in a programmatic way, then we need a task. So let's open up some docs.md here. So you're going to need a task, and then a task is going to have start, which is going to have a user token, which IDs the user. It's going to have a task title, right? Which is,
right.
I don't know, working on the application for client X. And it's going to have a start time, which is just going to be now, for example, right? And that's it. So this will kind of return a task ID. Okay. And then on the client side, you're going to have a finish, which is going to be, so the finish is going to be triggered. So here's the thing we need to think about a bit here. What happens on so we need a way, if you think about it, we need a way to understand who is driving the logic here. So, for example, if we are starting a task on the client side and then getting back a task ID, now we kind of need to understand where are we running the timer. Are we running the timer on the client side, or are we running the timer on the server side? For example, if the client is just gonna close, right? If the client closes, then there's like what we call a dangling object, which is just a task that started. So we're gonna need a way to manage the timers on the client side and on the server side, and we're gonna need to understand who's responsible to manage those timers and who's responsible to stop the timer when the task has been completed. And when the task has been completed, it's pretty simple with Pomodoro. It's just when the time has passed. So we kind of need to think about it. We need to architect it in a way that's going to scale. Because if you leave it to the client side and say, hey, go ahead and manage that, then you're going to need to handle what happens if the client closes. And if you do that on the client side, the danger of it is that you're going to need to do it. And we just saw, right? We have 3-4 different clients, and we have a CLI, and we have a React Native, and we have a web. So then you need to duplicate that logic, right? You need to duplicate that logic of, hey, like this timer has been started, and what do we do? So in terms of finish, really what we need is to set a timer for X minutes on the server side to mark the task as complete. So we need kind of state. So we need some kind of a state machine here that once a task has been started, we want to set the state as started. Once a task has finished, then status.finished, right? And once a task has stopped, so this is distraction, we want to set that state.
So a single task is the 25 minutes interval.
Yeah, a single task is a 25-minute interval. Well, X minutes interval, because you might want to do it for 25 minutes. You might want to be it for 35 minutes. You know, you need to control that.
Okay.
So this is really what we kind of need to work on first. We need some sort of a state machine here. And we also need, you know, on the server, we need this what we're gonna, like a background worker, right? So a background worker that runs, you know, every minute, and then looks at all the open task, and if the time for the task has finished, then it's gonna, you know, if the interval for the task has passed, then it's gonna finish the task, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
I have a question here.
yeah.
So I know we talk about that we're gonna have like a web client app, like a web app, and then we want to have a native, like a Mac OS app, right?
Yeah.
So I'm just thinking, what is the benefit of doing a native app on Mac? Like, is there something inherently that cannot be done through a web app that requires a native app? Like, what's the biggest advantage of this particular client?
Well, or this particular client is to control the LED. So you
Control
want
the LED.
you won't be able to control the LED from the web. You're gonna have to control the LED from a client side on the computer, because it needs access to the USB interface.
Okay. And then through the browser, basically, there's no protocol that allows to do that.
No,
I'd imagine.
It's a violation of the sandbox, and yeah, you can't do it.
Got it. Okay, thanks.
So this is kind of the first part that I would want to work on, and understand what's happening even before we resolve this register. So let's go ahead and look at that. Okay, so what do we need here? By the way, people in the chat room, I don't know how many people we have here. So let's see how many people. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 7 and 6 on live edu. So about 13 people. So people in the chat room, if you have ideas on how to implement that, or if you have questions or comments, we really, you know, during the streaming sessions, we really encourage participation. So really, if you have a question, and as you can see, you know, here in the chat here, then if you have any questions, then feel free to ask them, because we do our best to really answer each and every one. So feel free to do that, and don't be shy to hit the follow button, or join us on Reddit or on Discord. Okay, so let's go ahead and start this state machine stuff. So we need a task, right? And a task has, like I said, it's going to have a user ID. So it's going to have a relation to a user. It's going to have a title, and it's going to have a start time. And it's actually going to have an interval, which is going to be the number of minutes to wait before automatically finishing the task.
Okay.
All right. So, and we're gonna talk about like the backend stuff here. What are the approaches? Frosty 110. Thank you for the follow. The zombie is saying hi. All right. So, really, we're gonna talk. Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you, Callie. So really, we're gonna talk about the approaches to do this on the back end, because on the back end you can really do it in two ways, right? So if you think about it, this is like the real deep architecture stuff that you never get exposed to when you do simple tutorials, and not again watch someone like me or like you or pair programming approach a task from the real world, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you have two ways of doing that. One is you can have that task ID, and then you can send it to your background worker and say, hey, in 25 minutes, look at that task ID and finish it if it's not finished, right?
Okay.
So that's one. Now that requires a state machine on your background worker as well, right? Because now your background worker can't die, because it has to keep track of what tasks do I need to finish in 25 minutes or in 20 minutes or in 30 minutes. So if you deploy or you restart, so now you need some sort of persistence in your background worker, right?
So if you can slow down a little bit, I think I'm not fully understand. So when you say there's a background worker, you mean on the cloud, there's a background worker
Yeah,
or
just
on
like Sidekick with Rails.
okay. And then but you were saying that we're not sure where the state machine is going to live yet, right? That's
No,
that's where
what
I
I'm
was
saying
waiting
is
for you to
we need a state machine. So you know what? Before we complicate more things, let's just start working on it. Okay.
the state machine.
Yeah, on the task. So start a task, finish a task, and so on and so forth.
Okay, but have you kind of? I was kind of waiting for you to go there, but maybe I missed something. But like, where exactly does a state machine live? Like, does it live on the cloud or on your computer or like
What do you mean
where?
by where does a state machine live? A state machine is just a slang for keeping a state on an object.
Correct, correct.
It's
Remember,
not a real machine. You know what I mean? It's not
I
it's
know, I know.
yeah. Okay.
Because remember, you were talking about like we're not sure whether we should keep track of the time concept in like on the client or on the server, and then remember that conversation. I have we like
Okay.
decided.
So, listen. So, we have task, right? The task is started. Once the task has started, it has a time to live, right? Basically it has a TTL. And that time to live is the interval.
Yeah.
Once that interval has passed, the task needs to die. And that death is basically a finish event on that task. Now, the task, if you think about it, needs to switch between states. So when I hit start, the task has a state of 1, for example, and that 1 is start.
Okay.
And then the task, the time goes by, and then something needs to change the state of the task to finished.
Yeah.
Right? So now that something is some sort of a background worker, because your web session is now dead, right? You're not on the web anymore. You're not on the API anymore. And you don't want to manage that state on the client side as well. You want to manage that state on the server side.
Okay.
So now you have two choices, right? So that state machine is clear.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
So now we keep track it on server side. Now I get it.
yeah. So now we have another kind of decision point to make. And that decision point is whether we, once the task has started, do we schedule a background worker to work in interval in like X amount of time and finish that task, right? Or we say, look, the background workers runs every minute and looks at all the tasks in the database that are currently in a started state,
Yeah.
and the time to live has passed, right? So it basically does a simple comparison, gets all the tasks, and says, this is the time the task has started, has 20-minute pass, has 25-minute pass, basically what's on the in the interval, and then if it passed, then it's gonna move the state to a finished state, move the state to a finished, right?
Okay, I got it. Got it now.
Um, and and again, here you have two choices. Either you have a stateful background worker, which keeps a state on what task and when does it need to finish, or you have a stateless background worker, which looks at the database and then understands, based on the interval and the time that the task has started, that it needs to finish that task.
So
So
definitely stateless is better, right?
well, again, it's a matter of choice. This is the thing. This is like what I always say on the stream here. You can't say, hey, stateful and stateless. Hey, stateless sounds better. Let's go with stateless. You need to understand your problem scope. And once you understand your problem scope, then you need to understand your solution scope. So I'm not sure that stateless is better, because stateless, if you think about if this product needs to scale and suddenly you have 100,000 tasks that are in flight, you don't want to do it 100,000 times every minute. What you want to do is you want to do it once. You don't want to query your database every minute. You don't want to query your database every 5 minutes. You don't want to query your database every 30 seconds. You say, hey, I have a task here, and in 20 minutes, do something just on that task. So
I see what you mean.
So again, you can't weigh solutions against solutions. You have to weigh solutions against the problem. Otherwise, you're in a world of hurt, because hey, stateful and stateless. Stateless sounds better, but actually, in this case, stateless might be very much worse. Okay, so let's go ahead, and what we're gonna do now is we're gonna create a new model for our task. Okay, and our task is pretty much gonna look like this. So let's go ahead and create src server models, and we're going to create a task.model.js here. And let's switch all the user with task. And task is going to have a user ID, which is going to be a type of string. And unique is going to be false. It's going to have a created at. What about it? Role it doesn't. And it's going to have start time, which is going to be a type of date. And unique is false. We're going to have a TTL. And I don't know if it's I don't know, task time. All right, so let's call it task time, and the type is going to be integer, and unique is going to be false. Okay, so user ID, and this is start time. Which is going to be a type date. What am I missing here? I don't see what am I missing. So user ID. Okay. So now this dot find by ID and list. Okay. Great. So Now, what we want to do is we want to start and kind of test the things we want, right? So,
Right.
but before that, what I want to do is I want to just close out Postman here, and I want to look at Mongoose docs. Acidic mushroom, which font do I use? Do you mean in the terminal here? What font is that? Let's see. Text operator mono. That's the font. Okay, so let's see. Mongoose, what do we have here? So type, yeah, we have a date here. And default is actually date.now. So we can take that. What else? So number is the start time. Oops, sorry. So this is default is date.now. And task time. This is a number. And it's here. Acidic mushroom. Yeah, the answer to that is yes. Okay, so title. What else? Okay, so we have a string, a number, a boolean. Great. So this looks good, actually. Something here is not loading correctly, though. What am I missing? God damn it. Okay. All right, so let's check that out. Let's go to the test. And what do we have? Describe, post API users, send user, expect HTTP. Okay, so let's run a yarn test here. Okay, so the tests are passing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a SRC server tests, and then I'm going to create a task.spec.js. Okay?
Okay.
And let me copy this over here. And great. So let's see what are we testing here. Delete API users. Okay, so now comes the question, how are we, testing this? Are we testing this through unit tests, through the model, or are we testing this through, I closed the chat on Twitch by mistake, so let me open that up again.
Okay.
All right, so let's pop it out here and put it here and close this. Okay, so the question is, whether do we want to test this through the API, or do we want to test this through the models? And I think my approach, and I want to test it through the models. So let's go ahead and SRC server tests models, and then I'm gonna have a task.test spec.js here, and then let's close this. Okay, so make dir p src server tests models, and then save this. Okay, now it's great. Okay, so now let's see what we have here. So we are going to require import task from models task, And I don't believe that's correct. So src server. So yeah, models and then task.model. Great. And then let's do here. This is task. And let's go yarn test. See if it's running. User task. Okay, so task cannot find task.model. So this should be here. So task and then models test. So 1, 2 models, 1, 2 tests. Okay, so yeah, only 2. So yarn test. And let's see if it's doing something. Okay, so user should pass. And oh, now I see what the problem was. Great. So now what I like to do, as you know, is run the test on the right side and run the project on the left side. So now we're going to save this. Okay.
Okay.
And now it's going to yarn test. So now the test should pass, but they don't. Oh, now I don't contain a test. Great. So now we need to, start kind of working on our project. Okay. So first, let's go ahead and configure the test environment. And our MongoDB is on 0000 27017. And this is going to be called Pomodori test, right?
Yep.
And the port 4040, that's fine. Great. So now what we need is a create here, right? So let's go ahead and start a create. And this is going to be user ID, right here. And what we're going to do is we're going to return this dot, and let's see mongoose here. How do we create? So mongoose, and then do we have create? No. So we have a new cat. Okay, quick start. Create. Create. So silence, I see that. So we're gonna need like a new here, and then silence. I don't know if I like that. Let's see. So models. So yeah, we have a create. Okay, so let's do that. So return this dot create, and we're gonna pass user ID, right? So let's see, yes, user ID. And we don't need a start time because it's gonna be now. And then task time is gonna be here. So let's do task time, like so. So task time. And then, awesome. This is what we need. Okay? Great. So let's go ahead and do that. And what is this, by the way? Is it Mocha? I think it's Mocha. Let's look at package.json. We have jest. Okay. So we do have jest. And we have coverage as well. Do we have watch? No watch. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to say, what? Too many splits. I think I'm losing it. Okay. So user spec, And yeah, we need an it. Great. So it should create task. And then here, here, and then great. So now we're going to do, does this return? I wonder if this returns a promise, or does this return a callback? No, seems like this returns a callback. So what we're going to need is to return a promise. So we're going to return a promise dot new with resolve and reject. Okay. And then here, this is going to be this dot create, like so. But this is now not this. Okay. This is a problem. This is a problem. Let's see. This find by ID. Oh, we have a dot exec. Okay, so mongoose promise. Let's see what we have here in mongoose promise. Okay, so mongoose promises, and we have a promise. gnr.save promise.then. Queries are not promises. Okay, seems like there is a promise here. And let's look at package.json to see which version of Mongoose are we using. So Mongoose 4.7.6. Okay, so we should have promises. So we can do let task equals new task, and then this is going to be these. And then we need to return task.save, which in turn is going to be a promise. Okay? So task.create. Here, let's do user ID of xxx and task time of 25. And then here, promise equals this. And then just promise should resolve. So let's see if promise, return new promise. Let's see what we have here with just. Expect assertions. Where is expect? Okay. Resolves. Okay. So how do we test this nice and cleanly? Let's see if this even works, because I don't see that we have expect here. Okay, so should create task 0 assertions. Okay, so let's do yarn test. Your test suite must contain at least one test. It does. So describe, and I do have one test. Oh, it's the other one, task.spec here. It's this one. I can remove this one. Okay. So now let's run the test again. And what do we have? Your test suite must contain task.spec. Oh, I removed the wrong one. No, that's not good. Well, that's not good. So let's import task return promise.resolve to be defined. No, it's not. It's not that I forgot expect. Something was off. I deleted the wrong file. So task. So this is models task.model. All right. So then here we need this, and this is task. And let's move this to src server test models. So models and then task.model. Test models. Damn it. Okay. So models and then task.model. This is what I wanted. And then it user spec. Let's copy this and here. Great. And now expect dot assertions. And now task dot create. Task dot create. We have like some user ID xxx, and then 25 minutes dot resolves dot. I don't know if I want to be defined here, but let's check. I'm not sure if that's how you write it or not, but you know, no way of knowing. RoboctoCat, thank you for that compliment. Whether you were cynical or not, I don't know, but we'll see. Okay, so that's the one here. Awesome. And now yarn test. What? Yarn test. Okay, 0 assertions. Oh, damn it. This is expect task dot resolve to be defined. My goodness. Yarn test. Okay, so now should create a new user. This is a task. Okay. User. I'm not sure I need these assertions here. Okay. Now, task is not defined. Where is this error coming from? So, RoboctoCat, thank you so much. And if you actually want to see what we're working on, I wrote a blog post. So check it out. And thank you for the compliment. I appreciate it. So reference error, task is not defined. Okay, great. So this is now in the task model. So task.model, task.create. I think that's where... how can I do this? Do I do like a new this? How do I do it? How do I do that? Okay. So actually, Nah, I don't think this is good. I don't think this is a good approach at all. Um, okay, let me think this through. So what I want to do is I want to abstract out the create, so I don't really use the task.create external, um, the mongoose internal method to create my models. And the reason for that is that I want to be able to externalize it and remove mongoose easily. Um, so what I want to do is I want to create a method that will create an object and return the underlying promise. But the problem is that I don't have task here. Mongoose.model task as task schema. And the question is, how do I okay, so let's see. So we have a promise here. So task is not really here. What we can do is we can do the task factory here. And what we can do is in SRC models, so server models, we can create a task factory. So .js. So then we can remove this. We can create a class, task factory, which is going to have a static method called create. We can import task from like local task dot model. And then here we can define a model of a static method called create. This way we also factor out our models into a nice factory, and instead of having object method, we can have factory method. So I like that better. So first what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this. So make a directory called src server tests factory, and then have a task dot factory dot spec dot js. Oops, sorry, that's not what I wanted. And then I'm going to move this to server src server tests factory to task factory dot spec dot js. Task factory dot spec dot js. Great. Awesome. So now this is going to be the task factory. Okay. And then task factory dot create resolves to be defined. So what we can do here, let me see here, bubble.js.io. Where is the try it out here? Class task factory. Let me put this bigger here. Whoops. So class task factory, and then we're going to have a create, which is going to be a function, and it's going to be, I don't know, an ID and a name, and a fat arrow to do this. And let's do console.log something.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yeah. Where were you?
Shit. I asked you like 5 questions and you didn't answer it. It's because I put myself on mute.
Yeah,
I don't know why. I don't know
good,
when I put myself on mute. But I
good
feel like
job.
an idiot. I've been asking questions you weren't answering at all. Um,
Um, okay, so just a sec. So ID name. What am I missing here? So create. I feel like this should really work. Task factory. What am I missing here? Um, so let's do create. Okay. Hmm. So task factory does not return this.
just as
Okay.
a syntax error.
Yeah, let's see. So ES 2015, this is what I want. Um, okay, let's do ES6 class. I feel like I'm more confused than I should be. So we have a constructor and we have a say name, but I want a static object, a static method. This is not what I want. So constructor and toString. So we have a static? Really? I don't think so. Okay, seems like we do. Okay, so let's do this. So let's go back to our editor and say static create, right? Let's go back. Yep, static create, and we're gonna accept a user ID and task time. And what this is going to return, so let task is going to be task.new. I'm not writing Ruby. New task. And then this is going to have a user ID and a task time. Like so.
Okay.
And then we're going to return task.save. Awesome. So now yarn test for the moment of truth. Awesome. And task factory.default.create is not a function, but we do have a static create here. So task factory create should definitely be here. The question is, why isn't it? So let's remove 17. So what is this? Why is this doing React bullshit? Create class and then static method. Static method. Something dot static method. So static method is not a function. And if I do that, I get classy. So this should definitely work. Okay.
Static.
And I do have static create here. And I am returning task.save. Task factory default create is not a function. So let's go to our dist here and open up the server and then the model. So basically I'm looking, oh yeah, you see task factory is not here.
Where did you save it to? Well, I see the directory.
Yeah, but it's not here. Like the task
src
factory JS is not here.
src server models task factory.js.
It's not here.
Well, where are you working this off from? Like,
so
where is
server
it?
models. Now it's here. So yarn test doesn't build? Well, this is weird. So dot create is not a function. So still. So dist and now server models and task factory JS create. So there it is. Function create var task equal task2 return task.save. So yeah, create is here. You see create.
Yeah. Are you?
Oh. My goodness. Export default class task factory. Okay.
Oh.
All right. So now this is good. Yarn build and yarn test. Okay.
Still.
So cannot read property to be defined. That's great. Okay, so to be defined just. Let's see. Come on, expect. To be defined. Okay. Resolve. So resolve.
Should pass. Nope.
No. Cannot read property to be defined of undefined. Okay. So task factory create. Oh, this is here.
What does dot resolve return? Like, does it
function?
It returns a function.
No, resolve is a function. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Async callback was not invoked within timeout specific. Great. So now we need the assertions here. And now yarn test. And we are boom, failing. Should create a new task, but I don't want to create a new task. I just want this to return resolves. So expect and then dot resolves. No, this is not what I want. What does this actually return? Let's do node here. And let's require, so const task factory equals require of, oh, now I need to do mongoose again, all of this crap, right? No,
the connect.
Like yeah, the connect and all of these.
Grabbing water. Be right back.
So, task factory create resolves to be defined. So now this is expect task factory dot create dot resolves to be defined and yarn test.
Okay.
0 assertions. Okay, so then let's do then. User here. And what's going on? And then here. User.
Did it print out? I don't see the user.
So this is this. Okay, here and here. So RobotoCat, yes, we are writing the models using ES6, as with everything JavaScript. Okay, so task factory, default promise library is deprecated. Plug in your own promise library.
Was not invoked within timeout specified.
No, it's just not connecting. You see, it's like it's failing, but it's not even going there.
It timed out, right? That's what it looks like.
Yeah, this means that this is not return.
That's interesting.
So let task is new task with user ID and task time. So this should really work, but it doesn't.
Maybe it's the task.save, like something off with the save.
No, it's not. It's something else. And I think I know what it is. So let's go to the model here. Sorry, so the user model. So user.spec. And here you see it's requiring app. And I think in app, so src index, it's connecting to Mongoose. So I think by not doing this, it's actually not connecting in the factory to Mongoose. And this is why it's failing. Cannot find module index. Great. So now this is 2. Here and yarn test. And now we see that it's working. So you see there's the user here. So that was actually the problem. Okay, so now what you can do here, and this is not actually a user, this should be a task. And then you can expect task dot. What do we have here? Yeah, let's do a task dot user ID, or is it task dot new record? So new record mongoose. So how do we do the save? Mongoose check record saved. Is new. Yes, there is an is new Boolean property on the model instance that indicates that access this dot is new from pre-save. Okay, but that's not what I want. Do I have is new? Let's see. Yarn test. And let's see what we have here. So I don't see it again. So it seems like it's undefined. So modified. Oh, is new is probably a function. Let's see. So yarn test.
Well, now, oh wait, no.
But I don't see anything coming in, which is really weird. Okay, so Jax. Oh, man, I can't pronounce that username. Jaxomo Ruatha, I think. Oh, good, you're still on. So yeah, we're still on. We still have about 30 minutes. By the way, I just want to do a quick kind of comment here, I guess. With Rails, everything that we're doing here is like so much smoother that it literally pains me to do it with JavaScript.
Yeah, it's weird.
It's like with Rails, this is literally just a minute, and with JavaScript, these things is like so much more painful that really I'm not surprised when I see a JavaScript project with no tests. It's like so much more painful. It's crazy.
Feels like doing tests in JavaScript is more complicated than doing tests in Golang.
Oh, much more.
Right? Like Go was much more straightforward and it was reliably working. It's just ridiculous.
It's indeed ridiculous. All right, so let's go yarn test.
It's gonna time out.
Yeah, but and now nothing is coming up. It's like what? It's my goodness. I don't even understand what's going on here now. It's like, why did it work before and not working now? Look at that. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it was working before.
No. I think.
Go ahead.
Look, so you see this console.log xxx? And
I don't see XXX in the logs. It's not logged out.
Shut up, man.
Oh, it is. Oh, it is.
Okay, so and now it's outputting that, and before it wasn't outputting that. Um, expect that assertions, and then oh man. So console.log, and then here console.log. Okay, so here yarn test. Okay, now we're looking better. So we're outputting the user, and what are we outputting? Where is it?
Oh, the user is here.
No, the user ID is here, but I'm looking for task has been saved, and I'm not seeing that. So it's printing the users, but it's not printing the task has been saved. Console.log, and let's do task has been saved. Yarn test. I think it's kind of swallowing the output somewhere. Console.log fail.
Swallow.
Okay. So let's do expect task.new to be false. Is there something like this with just to be falsy? To be falsy. Yeah. Okay, and oh my god.
No, nothing is getting printed out.
No, now it shouldn't be printing out. That's fine. So dot catch error. So error. Console.log error. So
No.
no. It's swallowing the error 100%. So look, it's gonna show it and then it's swallowing it. Hi, what's the name? Hana Yeol. Hana Yeol. Hello, how are you? Jax. So it's Jaxom of Ruatha. Okay. Jaxom of Ruatha. Oh yeah, how could I have missed that?
What does it mean? What does Ratha has a specific meaning?
Expect task to be truthy. Truthy. Yep. Oh, it's my god, man. So here. Dot to be truthy. So bam bam bam. And finally failed. What is going on? Dude, like, what is going on?
Why don't we just test this manually, like in Node console, and be done with it?
No, I don't want to. Why? You think I'm taking the easy way like you?
All right, I like that spirit. Let's do it the hard way. The right way is the hard way.
Okay, so here's something that I don't understand. So when I return task.save from Mongoose, so let's do here, so Mongoose and then save, return promise. This means that you can do mymodel.find1.then and yield to find one. So here, when I go to the task factory and I return task.save, okay, so let's do here node and then const app equals require src index. Oh no. So dist server index. Okay, so dist index, no. Const app. Okay, so this is app. Great. And now const task factory is require dist models task factory. No. Server. Okay, so now task factory create xxx and 25. It returns a promise. So if I do p equals this, okay.
Unhandle promise.
Yeah, this is okay. Duplicate key. Email. Who cares about email? No one cares.
Oh, maybe this is persisting already.
No, I think. So task. So first of all, why didn't I see that in the test and I only see that here? So this is task schema. And it has a user ID. Nothing here is unique. Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
And then what I do here in the task factory, I create something. And unhandled promise rejection, which who cares about it right now? You know what I mean? Like, who cares? So promise is this. And I immediately get an unhandled promise exception. But I really don't do anything right now. So task factory here is going to create a task. So it's going to import a task from the task model. So if we go to the task.model, we see task. There is no user here, nothing. So I'm not sure const task equals require dist server models task.model. JavaScript is just unbelievably cannot find module dist server models task dot model ls dist server models task dot model. So it's here. Dist server. Okay. So now task 3 is this. Now task equals new task 3. And we have a user ID of XXX. And then task time of 25. Okay, and then task.save. So you see, unhandled immediately, we get it.
Rejection, right error.
Unhandled promise rejection, right error. Duplicate key, error collection, Pomodori development tasks, index email, duplicate key. But
see, the key is column null. Like, that looks weird. What does it even mean?
Yeah, this is what I'm saying. It's weird.
This might be a mongoose related thing.
What is happening?
Seems like it happens when it's trying to persist the data. It happens.
Yeah. That's the thing. It's like when trying to persist the data. What I'm not understanding is why this is happening.
Index. Do we have an index?
No. Not on tasks. Not on task.
It's complaining about duplicate of index.
Pomodori task. Build index on Pomodori task v2 unique true key email. So you see, it's trying to build an index.
Yeah, I think maybe Mongoose has like sort of like a default index, maybe.
All right, time to do the. Okay. So now I removed all of the data. And let's do here. So let's do node. And let's do const app equals require index. And then const task equal require this, right? So then we can do const task factory. So task factory equals require task factory. Okay, and then p equals to task factory dot create and xxx and 25. Yeah, again, it's what?
This is the first record. How can I have a duplicate already? You clean the database, right? Like you cleared everything. But check the database. Is there anything in there right now? Can you check? Can you query the MongoDB right now?
Duplicate key, tasks, index. What are we talking about here? Oh my God.
What?
Okay, I think I know. Models, task, dot model. Here it is. Passport. So email, here it is. task plugin, username field, email. Bam, that's the one here.
Passport? What is that?
It's just a way to validate things. Okay, so rm-rf data -p data, and let's start. Okay, so now we're golden, and now let's do yarn test.
This probably will work. What? Timing out again.
Okay, so now I should create a new task, async, Jasmine default. And now we kind of need to check that out. Okay, so now let's do app and then task factory and then promise is task factory. And again, with this email bullshit. Um, so I don't know who commented on the keyboard, but you can actually again try, and I don't know if that works. Let's try.
Trying to show off your keyboard again? The broken keyboard.
No, I just want to show, that this is not in play. This is not in play. So let's try that out for a second. Okay, so now, so passport, local mongoose here, great. And now the problem is that we need to rebuild. And let's remove the data here. And then make dir-p data. And start here again. And then let's clear it here, yarn build. And yarn test. Okay.
XXX.
No, this what? Okay. So here, list skip mongoose task schema. Okay. So node and then app and then task factory and then promise. What?
Same thing. So it wasn't the passport stuff. Unless it didn't remove it. Are we sure we remove it?
Yeah, I'm removing the data from MongoDB. What is going on?
If you query the MongoDB right now, is there any stuff in there?
So docker run -v data MongoDB. Access control, initializing data DB, build, detected data files, created. Okay. So let's do this. And then start here. And do that. And then start. Um, okay, so now we should have an empty one. Server instance pool was destroyed. Great. This is better. So let's remove this and node, and then app, and then task factory, and then promise. Okay, finally. Okay. So now, yarn test. And we should still time out, which is expected. So task factory spec. But here, no, we shouldn't actually time out anymore. Why is it timing out now?
The most annoying thing about this JavaScript test is it doesn't tell you what's wrong.
It's just horrible. It's just the entire programming experience is basically horrible. No, I mean I'm serious. You know, I'm serious. This is you just like feel stupid all the time. All right, that's enough with the keyboard. Okay. It's like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We're working for 2 hours on like a fucking
a single unit test. It's a unit test.
It's like, what are we talking about here? You know, it's like, this is like in Ruby and Python, this is literally like a 2-minute task. Just 2 minutes. It's just
seriously, it is 2 minutes.
Okay, so the promise is here, and it resolves. So this is 5.7, and this is 5.8. So the promise resolves, and it's actually creating things on the database. This is 5.9. But the test is still like, what? All right, just promise. Let's see. So return new promise. Great. This is what I want. Okay, so return new promise request. And then here we return. Okay. So maybe that's the one. So user factory. So task factory dot spec. And here we need to return. Is this as simple as that? Doesn't look like it. Data, expect data to equal. No, it's still failing. What the fuck? Expect task. Task factory dot create dot then task. Expect to be truthy. No, it's still timing out, which means that something is happening with this promise. Specifically here through tests.
Is there any way we can get visibility in the error? Like, Remove done.
Yeah, let's remove done. Oh, that's actually true, by the way. Okay, great. So now let's go back here and do the same thing. Okay, yarn test. Boom.
So
Awesome.
pass.
Great. So this is passing. So task is truthy. Awesome. So whoever it was, acidic mushroom, thank you so much. Awesome. So now we can actually continue. And now we need to do the state machine. So let's go to task model. Let's do this here. Focus on Vim. So task.model here. And we need task status, which is going to be a type of number, and unique is false, and the default is task status dot started. Right?
Okay.
Awesome. So now let's import started. Oh, actually, so let's do import task status from task status, like so. And here models, src server models task status.js. And let's say export default. Why is this noise?
What noise are you hearing
noise,
from me?
Yeah, that noise that you're making. Like, what are you doing there?
I'm not making any noise.
Okay, you are, but okay. Okay, so this is that, and now in our test here, we're gonna do this, and we're gonna import task status from task status. Okay, and then here should create a new task with the default status. And then here expect task dot task status to equal task status dot started. Okay, so let's run the test. Right, so task status, did I forget a comma? I did. Let's run the test again. What's going on? What's going on? Task status dot started. Okay. Import task status. Let's look at task status. We have this object. Const task status equals to this, and export default task status, like so. Yarn test. Okay, failed. 0 assertions. I definitely have an assertion here. Okay, so again, going back to jest. Let's look at expectations. Just expect. Okay, great. So to equal. Oh, it's to equal. Okay. Why is this like not giving a normal error? So to equal like so. And yarn test. All right, so this is working. And now we can see that our task status is equal to task status dot started. And we can actually test it and see that if I put like 2 here, it will fail. Are you here or are you dead?
I'm here. I see.
Okay, expected number but received undefined. So task status dot started. Export default task status, and this is started. Great, and yarn test. Great, passing, and we can actually again test this for 2 and test. Okay, expected 2, received 1. Great. So now this is working as well. So let's do task status dot started. So this is the default. Okay, so great. So now git we can do git init and actually add all of this here. Git commit -m as initial commit. All right, so now we have our task model, and we have the default status for that task model.
Yeah.
What now? What do you want to do next? So do you want to do the state machine to finish the tasks? Or actually task also needs a title, which is a type string. So we can add that as well, right? Awesome. So we could actually remove this because we're not using this. We're using the task factory. So now in the task factory, we can actually do this. So task.create is going to accept an object. And then here we are going to pass that task object into here. Right?
Yep.
So we can remove this as a user ID. And now here in our task factory.create, we actually need to pass an object. So this is going to be a user ID of XXX and task time of 25. And we can do this and paste it here as well. And yarn test. And it passes. Great. So git st, git add, git commit, refactor the task factory. Okay.
Cool.
Awesome. So as always, right before we kind of go, people in the chat room, I don't know how many do we have. We have about 15 across the platforms. And I'm actually not watching YouTube, so I don't know if we have any viewers there. This is your time. Time for questions and reflections and feedback. So if you have any question, then let us know. This is your time. Any question is relevant, so don't feel shy. Okay, so this is task. Great. Okay, so let's, before we do that, create the initial. We have that, so this is done. Let's close this. So what do we want to do for tomorrow? I think the task state machine, finish tasks on timer,
Okay.
is a good thing. And then, so what was the issue with done? First of all, the issue is that I'm stupid. That's first. The second is the issue that it's expecting done as a callback, so it's not really finishing until it's getting the done as the object. So it's just timing out, even though like you're doing this, it's just timing out. So it's expecting you to just call done. I don't know if you ever worked with like Lambda functions, but they have exactly the same paradigm, exactly the same kind of workflow. They pass in a done function into your Lambda function, and then when the Lambda is done, you need to basically call that function. So Jest is like that. So I was passing it but not calling it, so that was the problem.
Wait, so actually, I'm curious about this too. Like, we spent a lot of time on this. You're saying that when we pass done, it's expecting us to do something with the done function.
To just call it, yeah, to call it when we're done.
Okay, and it's timing out because we just never called it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so so here what happened is that you have done here, right? This is what we had. So if you would call done here, it would work.
You think it will work? Let's try. I'm curious. Yeah. Seriously.
Yeah, just an oversight on my hand. So it's crazy, how I can explain it, but then it's like you just don't see it. You know what I mean? It's sometimes you just don't see it. Eventually, I would have, but to be honest, I didn't. So
yeah, you're probably about 20 more minutes away from that. I'm just kidding. Maybe 5 more minutes.
Yeah. So that was the thing. I just did not call it. So it was an oversight on my hand. Okay, so let's continue the planning for tomorrow. So the task state machine. So finish tasks on, this is actually should be timer. And what else?
This is still the server side. So are we planning to finish the server side before we start on other parts of the application? Not the application, but the project.
Yeah.
Well, we should. I'm curious how we should handle like the timing issue. Right? Like you said, like should we like have the worker to check it once overall, or like over the entire lifespan of the tasks, or maybe we should build a worker tomorrow actually.
Yeah, this is what I want. This is what I want, the state machine. So this is going to be build the worker to look at the open tasks and finish the ones that are on started. And make sure the worker does not touch tasks that are in distraction mode. Right? Whoop.
So what's the
So distraction mode, and then run every minute. Check the database for tasks that are past the TTL. And then finish them. Okay. So this is for tomorrow. This is easy. So then let's go ahead and also create the user through the CLI. So actually, let's go through create user API and return the user token. Right?
Okay.
So let's have this for tomorrow, and then have this shit. Okay, add this and due date tomorrow. Awesome. And then what else? What else?
So once we have the, well, we can start building the Sidekick equivalent in Node. Well, not building it, but setting it up, right?
Yeah, this
The
is all here.
worker infrastructure.
Like you keep going back
That's
to this
included.
task. Yeah, this is all here. I think that's enough, and if we have more, then we're gonna add it tomorrow. By the way, people in the chat room, Trello. So command Trello will show you the Trello board. So this is a public board, so you can go and check it out. I can actually show you. So let's open it on incognito here. And you can see it's like public, so you can go and check it out. It's all open source. And the project is going to be open source as well, of course. So I think for today, that's it. We will be here tomorrow at 8 p.m. PST. Make sure you join you join the Discord. Discord is here. And you can check it out, the Discord. And yeah, make sure you join because Discord, like I always say, it's live even when the stream is offline. So it's really cool and fun. And yeah, good night, and we'll see you tomorrow at 8.
Bye.
Bye-bye.